If you are struggling to get consistent clients, whether that's for your existing business or a business you are planning on starting, this video solves that today. I am sick and tired of seeing these videos all over YouTube about the new way to get clients. Now, if you are sitting there wondering who is this guy on my screen, I am Clarence. I run 3 different agencies, one of which is a lead generation business. And here, as you can see, for that particular business, if it loads in a second and I go to all time, there we go. You can see that I've signed over 70 clients. I've signed them all the exact same way, using the exact same method, which I'm going to share with you in this video. I'm going to take you through the entire system, the exact way I find who to reach out to, what I send them, and the automation that does it all for me. This is quite literally the only video you'll ever need to scale your business to 6 figures and beyond, just like me. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's map out your realistic options for signing clients. You've got 3. 1, organic content. 2, ads. 3, cold outreach. Here's how to think about all of them. Everything you do to get clients costs you one of 2 things, time or money. And when you are starting out, you have neither. So only one of these options is actually viable. Let me show you why. Option 1, organic. This is posting content to build a following for yourself or your business, showing your authority in a market so clients come to you. LinkedIn, YouTube, X, you name it. This one is basically free. The platforms cost nothing to use. Sure, you could hire a copywriter, an editor, a social media manager, and then it gets expensive. But at its core, it is free, and free is always nice. The problem is it is slow to make the content and slow to build the following. I have been producing content for a while now, so I'm telling you from experience, this is not an overnight thing. It is months of grind because you have to assume you are not the one who gets lucky and hits gold on day one. So organic is cheap on money, but it costs you a mountain of time. And when you're starting out, you want the ball rolling now, not in 6 months. Option 2 is ads. Every one of you knows what a product ad looks like. Clothing, cars, but you can also run ads for your agency or for your business straight to other business owners. The upside is speed. You shoot a video, you run it on Meta or LinkedIn, and you can have leads tomorrow because you are paying to be seen. But before you get excited, here is the downside. If you don't know exactly what you are selling, who you are selling it to, and whether there's even demand in that market, and you're also not great at making persuasive videos, which is a skill you have to master, you'll burn through your savings before a single call hits your calendar. The successful agencies are spending tens of thousands on scripting, production, editing, and then the ad spend on top. That is what you are competing against. So ads are fast, but they're also expensive. Option 3 is cold outreach. This is cold email, cold calling, LinkedIn messages, Instagram DMs, reaching out to business owners directly on whatever channel makes sense. And it's cheap. Buy a few domains, buy some data for the emails and phone numbers, and that's about it. It's also fast. You can message hundreds of people today or call them directly, and you know by the end of the day whether they are interested. Cheap and fast. And that's exactly why cold outreach is your foundation, no matter where you are in your business journey, but especially when you're starting out. With cold outreach being the clear winner, the next question is simple. What do you actually need to run it? Well, you are in luck because you only need 2 things, a service, and a market to sell it to. Right about now, you fall into one of 2 camps. Either you've already got your service locked in, or you are still hunting for the right one. If you are still hunting, let me point you in the right direction. I've got a whole video on this channel where I'll walk you through the exact process I use to find a service that's profitable and easy to fulfill. Same process I used to start 3 service businesses in a row, all of them now doing at least 5 figures a month. Part of that process is a simple checklist, 3 questions that tell you how well a service fits cold outreach. I'll link the video below. Or if you'd rather skip the search entirely, click the first link in the description and grab my list of verified services to sell. Those obviously tick all 3 boxes already. Now, if you are already actively selling a service, run it through the same 3 questions right now. It'll give you a good idea of how effective this is going to be for you. Don't think of it as pass or fail. Think of it as a spectrum. The more boxes you tick, the easier this is going to be. 1, is there a big enough market for it? Are there a lot of businesses out there who'd actually benefit from what you do? You're going to be doing a lot of volume here, a lot of outreach. So if there's only a handful of businesses to reach out to, you are capping your own growth before you even start. 2, does your service make another business money, clearly and measurably? This one matters because you're about to ask people to spend money on you. So it helps a lot when they can see exactly how much they'll make back. The bigger the return and the clearer you can show it, the easier this whole thing gets. 3, can you put a guarantee on it? Some way to take the risk off their plate. Something like, if I don't get you the result, you don't pay, or you only pay me per result, I get you. The more risk you take off them, the easier it is for you to close deals. Tick all 3 and cold outreach is going to be a breeze. Miss 1 or 2. You can still make it work. You'll just have to do a lot more volume to get results. Okay, so that is the service side handled. But remember, you need 2 things, a service and a market. So how do you find the market? Well, you steal it from the people already selling the service. And here is how. Say you find 10 competitors in your space selling your service or the service you want to sell. They're active on socials, clean website, testimonials. So it is safe to assume they are making money. Go through every one of those testimonials and write down the business it is from. Once you've got your list of company names, reverse search each one and ask AI what market it belongs to. Do that across all 10 competitors and you'll see patterns form. The same types of businesses will start showing up again and again. The one that appears most often, well, that is your market. And please forget the whole find an untapped niche thing. That is a myth. No niche is untapped. This isn't about finding something nobody's touched. It's about finding what is already proven. So that is your market locked, the businesses most likely to say yes before you've even reached out. Now you just need to get in front of them. Getting a list of businesses inside that market is actually very easy. There are loads of tools and databases to pull leads from, but the one I'd recommend starting with is Apollo. It is cheap, it is comprehensive, and the database is massive. Over 400 million B2B contacts. So you just need to use these search filters to narrow it down to the businesses in your target market. And a pro tip, filter by employee count too. Smaller businesses are almost always easier to sell to. They're more open to trying new things. They're actively looking for ways to improve, and they don't already have someone doing your service in-house. And that is it. Service and market. Those are the fundamentals for cold outreach. With those fundamentals locked, we can focus on the most important part of cold outreach, the message itself. Now, the message format changes slightly depending on the channel you use for your outreach. The one I use most by far is cold email. It is the most scalable and it is still where most B2B deals start. Around 6 in 10 decision makers prefer email over any other channel. That's not some made up stat. That is from extensive surveys across several markets and industries. Now, a good cold email always follows the same 4-part structure. First, the opening line. One thing you can observe or safely assume about the person and their business that connects to why you are reaching out now. This can be personalized, something you actually know about them, pulled from their LinkedIn, recent company news, a job opening they have, a new hire they have, you name it. Or it can be personal, something that's true for their whole role or situation. To explain personal, say you're emailing accountants in February. You don't know them personally, but you know they are buried in tax season, so you open with that. Both work. One is specific to them, the other is specific to the whole market. Second is you paint the before picture, what their situation probably looks like right now before they've ever used your service. I always do this with a neutral question that gets them to reconsider how they're doing things. Not you are doing it wrong, more like curious how you're handling X, or have you considered Y? And here's where those competitor testimonials come back into play, the ones you use to find your market. People describe their own struggles in their own words in those testimonials. On more than one occasion, I've lifted those words verbatim and dropped them straight into my own outreach. Third is you offer the solution. You paint a picture of what working with you actually gets them, the dream outcome. If you've got a testimonial or a case study of your own, this is where it goes as proof. If you don't have one yet, it's just about showing them what your service would mean for them and what it would fix. And again, those competitor testimonials are gold here too. Whether for inspiration or for direct quotes, just don't pretend someone else's results are yours. Finally, the CTA, the call to action. A lot of people freeze on this one. Do I ask for a call? Do I offer a lead magnet? Here is the easy way to decide. Ask yourself one question. How intrusive is what you are offering? If you're offering to do cold email for them, for example, they can say yes and change nothing. You coexist. But if you're offering to build them a whole new CRM, they have to rip out their tools, overhaul their process, retrain their people. So if your service isn't intrusive, ask for the call directly. If it means they have to change things, ask to send over a lead magnet first to kind of test the waters. Let's put this into practice. Say you are selling AI content creation. You take basic product photos and turn them into photo shoot quality images or even video using AI, and you're selling it to e-commerce stores because that makes the most sense. The opening line, personal truth. If Q4 was actually around the corner, it's a bit early, but maybe later on in the year, you can use it yourself. Hey, first name, that's obviously the variable. Q4 is coming up fast. All eyes on Black Friday. Every store owner on that list is thinking about the exact same thing at the exact same time if Q4 was actually close by. Then the before line. Now we get them to question their current setup by asking, are you still booking photographers and product shoots for your ad creatives, or have you switched to AI yet? The afterline, this is where you normally drop a client result, but let's assume you're starting out and you don't have one yet. No problem. You use yourself as the proof. I've been turning plain product images into scroll stopping images and video with AI. And for me, it lifted both ad click through rates and landing page conversions by X%. CTA, here's the decision from a second ago. Your service means they'd have to swap out their current creatives, so there is a change involved. Besides, in this particular case, a sample is cheap and easy for you to make, and very impactful if it actually looks nice. So you don't ask for a call, you make a deposit. Want me to optimize a couple of your actual products so you can see the difference for yourself? Now, this message would get replies, but we can agree it is generic. It doesn't read like it was written for one specific store owner because it wasn't. It could go to anyone in our market. But with a little research, we can change that and watch the reply rate skyrocket, which means more sales calls quicker. Let's go line by line and try to make it personal. The opening line we leave as is. If Q4 is actually approaching, it's already true for every store on the list, so it is doing its job. The before line is where research starts paying off. Instead of asking about their creatives in general, we point at their actual bestseller. Have you tested what better images would do for the conversion rate on their best-selling product? Now you're not asking a vague question, you're asking about the one product they care about most. The afterline, still no client proof, so still fine. But now we tie the result to their world. We can reference that same bestseller or their top selling collection and tell them the kind of lift you'd expect to see on it specifically. I've been turning plain product images into scroll stopping images and video with AI. And for me, it lifted both ad click-through rates and landing page conversions. I'd expect the same on a collection like your top selling collection, for example. And then the call to action, instead of a couple of your products, you name 2 or 3 of them by name. Now read that email back, pretending to be the store owner receiving it. Every line is about you, your bestseller, your products. It reads like someone sat down and studied your store before reaching out. They've done the work. They clearly think there's money being left on the table, and they're coming from a position of authority because they actually know your business. An email like that gets opened, read, and replied to at a completely different rate than the generic one we created first. And this isn't just an e-commerce thing. Whatever you're selling, whoever you're selling to, the principle is the same. The more your message reflects something real and specific about the person reading it, the more it stops looking like outreach and starts looking like someone who actually cares about improving your business. That's what research and personalization buy you. But here is the problem. Doing this for one business, like we just did, is easy. Doing it for hundreds a day, every single day, yourself, not a chance. Researching every store, finding their bestsellers, pulling their products, writing a custom line for each one, you'd burn your whole day and send maybe 20 emails. So this is the exact point where most people give up on personalization. They know it works, but think it doesn't scale. So they give up and go back to blasting generic messages that get ignored. And it goes way beyond what we did by hand. A business's ICP, their pricing, the software they run, their employee count, open roles, whatever is relevant to your offer, you can scrape it all and have AI write the message around it. But instead of just talking about the possibility of automation and AI, let me show you exactly how I use it and how it works. So here on screen is the entire system that I use to automate my cold outreach. These are 2 separate workflows. I've pasted them into one for the purpose of this video, so you guys get a nice overview. So this top workflow, it kind of does or automates what we just discussed. It does the research for us. So assume we have a lead list or a database of companies. Those companies and all the information we have about the business owners get pulled in here, and then the automation starts running. First thing we do is we scrape their company LinkedIn page, so we get all the information available on the company LinkedIn page. Then we scrape the personal LinkedIn page as well of the business owner or the person we're reaching out to, which should always be a decision maker, by the way. Then we let AI analyze both of those pages, the business page and the personal profile page. So everything that's available on LinkedIn, we already are aware of and could use in our outreach. Then the more advanced step is we go to their webpage, their homepage, we scrape it, we scrape all the internal links as well, and then we let AI determine what the most relevant pages are. You have to think of, so this is the node where it all happens. You have to think of pages like the about page, the pricing page, their case studies page, process and differentiation, proof of success, which is a testimonial one, and it will just output a list of all relevant pages. Now, if you are doing this for e-com stores like we just did, obviously the most interesting pages for you are the ones of the collections and the bestsellers. Then all of those pages get scraped individually and they also get analyzed by AI. So at the end of this workflow, we have scraped the most relevant data from their website, their entire LinkedIn profile of their business, and their entire personal LinkedIn profile, all their posts, their about page, their interest, if there is anything on there, their work experience. And we can use all this information if we want to, but we have this entire database in our outreach. So we just write an email template like we just did. We open up a few variables, for example, like their best-selling product or their best-selling collection, and we let AI use the data to derive the answers and slot that into the template. So every message reads like it is written for the exact person or the specific person we are reaching out to. So even we are sending hundreds or thousands of messages a day, they are all specific to, in this case, that one store owner, making sure we get the same amount of reply rates as if we were writing every message by hand, researching for 15, 20 minutes. So you can see or understand the power of, well, this here pretty small workflow. It automates the work of a salesperson at a business doing all the cold outreach for you at the exact same level of quality without mistakes. But instead of sending 20, maybe 50 emails a day, if you're keeping it quite generic, we can send hundreds and we can make them as personalized as we want to. Now, obviously, the sending of such volume comes with some, well, risks or downsides. I don't know if that's the right way of putting it, but you'll get a lot of replies, negative and positive, because your messages are going to be good. So we need someone, or in this case, something to handle the inbox for us. So that is what the second workflow is for. All messages received from our outreach get labeled by this workflow. So they go down a route: interested, not interested, telling you to get lost, out of office, or something miscellaneous, where the reply is so vague, even the AI doesn't know what to make from it. They get added to a follow-up sequence. So here they are. I can zoom in for you so you can actually read it. So here there are 3 email follow-up sequences. In this case, if someone is interested, we plan on getting them on a call, of course. So here they ask for some more information. We give them some AI generated response based on the information about, in this case, my business, and then prompting them to book a call with us. And then at the end of this, we also add them on LinkedIn. That is an addition I haven't really talked about in this video, and it's more of like a side thing, but I want to let you know that it's a possibility. We're doing an insane amount of outreach using cold email. LinkedIn is also very effective, but the thing with LinkedIn is you are limited by sending limits, sending caps. So instead of doing the same thing parallel on LinkedIn, we can only send 40 connection requests per day. So what I do is, to all the positive replies that I get, I send people a connection request on LinkedIn after they have replied to my message. So I know there is some interest from them. And then for me, it's a second touch point, increasing the likelihood of them converting to a booked call. More on that in other videos, because using that second touch point, having a branded, good looking LinkedIn page is very beneficial for increasing your reply to book call rate, but that is a bit more advanced. This is just about keeping it simple with cold outreach. So let me quit rambling. But that is the whole system. Set it up once, like I did, and it runs every day, sending personalized outreach, as I told you, at a scale you could never touch by hand. This is exactly what allowed me to sign those 77 clients using outreach only. So let's bring it all together. Cold outreach, one, because it's the only option that's both fast and cheap. So this should be your foundation of your business, no matter what stage you're at. You pick a service worth selling, then use your competitors' testimonials to find the market most likely to pay you, and build your lead list from there. You write the 4-line message, and you use personalization to turn a generic blast into something that reads like you wrote it for one person. And then you automate that personalization so it runs at volume without eating your entire day. Do that, and what you've built isn't a one-off win. it is a steady, consistent stream of calls getting booked and clients getting signed, running in the background while you get on with everything else in your business. Now, to keep this video digestible, I had to skip over some important details, and there are still a few ends to tie together before you can put this into practice. So if you want to save weeks of figuring it out yourself and you want my help, I run a private community called Scaling Systems, where I walk you through every step in detail. The entire process is laid out for you, whether you're starting from zero or scaling an existing business to 4-5 figures a month with automated cold outreach. You'll be able to copy and paste the workflows, including the one in this video. You'll get the landing page templates, the sales call frameworks, the copywriting frameworks in detail, all of it. And on top of that, you'll have a whole community of people on the same path as you. So you get direct feedback and tips from people who've climbed the exact same hurdles recently. Over 850 people have been part of it, with more than 150 scaling past 10K a month from nothing. And I personally guarantee you'll sign your first B2B client within 60 days or you get your money back. Link is in the description. I will see you guys inside.